You are not supposed to struggle this much if you worked hard, stayed responsible, built a career, and followed the path. Life was supposed to stabilize. Not feel like it is slowly getting heavier every single year. For a long time, there was an unspoken deal, do the right things, and life gets easier. Not perfect, not luxurious, just stable, predictable, manageable most. People are still living psychologically, as if that deal exists, but it does not, because the deal quietly changed. No announcement, no warning. No moment where everyone stopped and said everything is different. Now just pressure increasing year after year, until tight started feeling normalness. Is bigger than inflation, bigger than housing, bigger than groceries. What actually disappeared was margin, the distance between surviving and stressing. Middle class was never about being rich, it was about having breathing room. The ability to absorb a problem without your entire life shaking car repair, annoying but manageable rent increase, stressful but survivable unexpected bill, frustrating but not destabilizing. Now, those same events hit differently now. They feel like they tilt your entire life off balance, and when destabilizing becomes normal, something dangerous happens. Psychologically, people stop thinking long term. You do not plan 10 years ahead when next year feels uncertain. Question quietly shifts from where is my life going to how do I stay afloat. That shift alone changes an entire society, because when millions of people move from building a future to protecting themselves from falling, progress slows everywhere. Fewer risks, fewer businesses, fewer families. Starting more delay, more caution, more quiet anxiety. You can already see it. People postponing milestones, staying in shared spaces, longer waiting to have kids, not because ambition disappeared, but because stability feels less guaranteed. And here is what most people never notice. Expectations rarely collapse. They lower gradually. What once felt unacceptable becomes unfortunate, then normal, then expected. Previous generations focused on climbing higher. Many people now are focused on not sliding backwards. That creates a completely different mental world. Yet society still speaks the language of the old world. Work hard, stay disciplined, be smart with money, as if the ground never moved. Effort still matters, but effort inside a tightening system feels different. Running uphill is not the same as running on flat ground, even if your legs are just as strong. This creates a quiet frustration people struggle to explain, because on paper they look fine, working, earning, functioning. But internally, life feels heavier than it should not. Collapsing just heavier, and heaviness is dangerous precisely because it is survivable. People tolerate what they can survive, even if it slowly drains their optimism. Now here is the deeper shift. When a society loses economic breathing room, it does not break overnight. It becomes tense, less patient, less forgiving. Small problems trigger bigger stress, and financial pressure starts leaking into conversations, workplaces, friendships, relationships, everywhere. But the biggest change is invisible. It happens inside. Optimism grows when effort reliably improves life. Remove that reliability and hope becomes cautious. Not gone, just quieter. People dream smaller, choose safer, wait longer, not because they want less, but because uncertainty quietly took control. So if life recently feels harder to stabilize, if maintaining your lifestyle takes more energy than it used to, if getting ahead feels strangely difficult, you are not imagining it. You are living through a structural shift. The middle class is not disappearing in a dramatic collapse. It is stretching, thinning, losing its shock. Absorption and shifts like this are usually only recognized years later, when people look back and realize that was the period when everything started feeling different. But awareness changes how you move, because once you see the environment clearly, you stop blaming yourself for every friction point. You adapt faster, you prepare earlier. Though people who struggle most during economic shifts are rarely the least capable. They are simply the last to realize the ground moved. Do not be last. Pay attention to the direction the world is actually moving, not the version we were promised, because the future almost never announces itself. It arrives gradually, then one day feels obvious, and by then adapting is no longer optional. It's survival.